Okay, hola all. Welcome back to Soul Mechanics. This is an important video, so please step into my office, be seated, pleasure to have you here. I'm going to need you guys to follow a few directions that I'm going to give you, and I'm going to need to hit several points here. Point A, we have a hurricane approaching, and we also have an operative on the front line of that. Now, this operative is also a friend of mine. You guys know him. You might know him if you've been keeping up with the channel. We did an interview with him recently. Jeremy Allen is his name, and this operative, who is in fact sitting in front of this fucking hurricane, watching it approach him, asked me a question, kind of in humor. He asked me this question: does psychology affect the hurricane? In fact, yes, it does, and we're going to explain to you how right here, because it's imperative to you managing your situation. Now, for everybody else watching, direction A, if you are not keen to all of this, if you're not really like hip to how things work here so much, I'm going to need for you guys to just kind of put forth the general intention that this hurricane, calm it down, sway it off, turn it away, just maybe hop over the houses, whatever you need to think of. Just put forth the intention, the wish, the prayer, the spell. Cast a spell, man. Go ahead and do it. If you're familiar with spot casting, which we're going to help you out with here, please do make use of that. That's going to be very effective in this. But we need you guys to just put forth the energy to block or to dissuade this hurricane in some way, so that it doesn't destroy the home of our people. Now, if you are in fact keen to this, if you know what you're doing and you know how to direct your energies, we're going to need you to feed energy to this young man, Jeremy Allen. He's older than I am, but this young man, feed him energy, because he's right there in front of it and he's putting his all into stopping it. And guess what? I believe in him. I believe you can do it, man. But we're gonna need to back him up. Now, in order to do this, you said yourself, you need to become something in order to control it. Now, we know that. We know how that works. It was kind of an enlightening thing for you to say to me, because it opened up values in my system that had not yet been unlocked, but I do in fact understand this, and it's how we've made use of things in the past. I've used tactile imaging before to become something, essentially, but that's not going to work in this case. And I'll tell you why. Because you're dealing with a massive force here. A force of nature. A force that exists because it does. It exists of its own merit and creed. It is not... it could very well be influenced by other people, as you might have suggested, as others might have suggested, but... whatever the case, it is in fact a force of nature. It exists of its own merit, of its own volition. So it's going to be incredibly difficult to move about just via telekinesis or what have you. So trying to push it away, that's not going to work. What you can do is try to trick it, convince it to move away. And the way that you do this is, of course, you're going to build a bridge between you and it. You're going to combine yourself with it. What you need to do here, what everybody needs to do here, is realize. And when I say realize, I mean, like, when I speak to understanding something, what I mean is standing under it. I mean standing behind it, becoming the foundation of it, what holds it up. You need to realize, not just believe or anticipate or, you know, hypothesize. You need to really actually understand. Dude, fuck off. I don't give a shit if it's Labor Day. Oh my God, you're seriously going to steal 13 seconds of my time for a second ad? Not cool. Not cool, YouTube. I think you are censoring people. I'm joking. But you have to realize that you are one with that, and we are all part of the same thing. It's not that we are connected. It's that we were never divided to begin with. There is no division in play. We are all part of the same creature, the same entity, and this hurricane is indeed a force of nature within the mind of yourself. And so identify with it, become it, feel it, understand it, make that connection with it, understand that you're being it, and when you are it, put values into play. This is how spot casting works. Now, an example I can give of this is that I smoke cigarettes a lot. Like, I chain smoke in these videos, you notice that. Now, I had attempted to quit smoking before, but I failed. And what that brings about with the cigarette, essentially, is that makes this cigarette a value that represents my defeat. It's something that I know deep down I need to get rid of for various reasons, most specifically the implications that it presents. Smoking cigarettes implies that I don't care so much about my health. It tells the world that I don't give a shit about living. Now, thankfully, I've been able to convince the world in other ways that I do indeed care, but for the most part, that's a big implication. Smoking can be very damaging to your health. That's said flat out, regardless of whether nicotine itself is dangerous. It's not. Nicotine is not bad for you at all, but it's the other shit that's in the cigarette. But regardless of whether the cigarette itself is even dangerous for you, it's been said. That value's been put into play, and you understand this. So there's a part of you that's saying to the world by smoking this cigarette that I don't give a shit, I give up. And that value, combined with the fact that it does in fact represent my personal defeat, it's a shutdown, it's a blockage, it's shutting down. The value is the implication of that value in play. The aspects attached to that value suggest the shutting down, the giving up, the giving in, the waning. Put a value like that. We all have personal values like that. Take one of those and put it into play regarding that hurricane. Try to convince that hurricane to fucking give up. That's an idea. I promise you it can work. And I'm gonna see you make use of it. Now, anybody watching, either whether you are putting effort, intention into dissuading the hurricane yourself, or you are feeding energy to our operative directly, we need you to share this video. And spot casting, in fact even spell casting, does actually operate retroactively. Time is not really a factor here. Once you realize that, once you see the fourth dimension in play and you understand that time is not really an objective factor here, that time itself is not an object, a material in a sense. Time is material itself, so it is not a material and it's not an objective factor in play. Once you realize that, yes, these intention experiments can operate retroactively. So what I need for you guys to do is share this video even after that hurricane's already come and gone. Look back, make note that hurricane probably didn't do so much damage, and it's likely because you share this video. So do it. Share this fucking video. It's going to be somewhat informative anyway. Now, the next factor we need to touch on with this is our project, the Contact Project, which this Contact Project is becoming a little bigger than I had anticipated it to be, and that's an excellent thing. We're going to see this thing blow up. I'm going to make sure it happens because I've been provided the leverage that's needed. We've already spoken to a few people on how to make use of that leverage, or at least implied that leverage is a factor in play. Most specifically to note, our primary channels in play at the moment is going to be True Life Stories, obviously. Blake, Booker, if you're watching this, you kick ass, man. We've done a lot of good here. Just by your deciding to join up on this, we've made a hell of a difference already, but you've already connected me with other people who are in play. Blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. What does matter is that Spirit Light Body, if you're watching this, which you are, of course, because I'm going to give it to you, we need for you to get in play with this project if you want to. It's your decision, obviously, but I really want you in play with this, and there are various reasons why. And those are going to become evident once you do get in on it. But obviously, Spirit Light Body, he's a Dre, he's a part of the collective, so he is in play technically. But we want him to be involved with this directly, so that both he and I and you guys can benefit from that directly. So, Spirit Light Body, Dre, please do contact me. Let's do a collaboration on this. We already have somebody set up for an interview that the both of us can do, and it's going to be excellent. So let's go ahead and get that done. It's going to be an awesome episode for both of our channels. We can do it on yours if you want. Doesn't matter. What matters is that we put that implication in play, that we're working together. The other channel that we have in play is called Chance Forward. Chance Forward, Chance, I'm supposing his name is, he's taking a break for the moment because he wants to he says he wants to go internal and reevaluate his ideologies concerning the influences that he's putting into play here on the channel. And I do believe I might have had somewhat of an influence upon his decision there. What I want to remind him is, remember that your considerations insofar as regards your internal seeking. The whole world, again, it's a part of you. It's consciousness itself is your mind. There's only one soul in play here. We're all a piece of it. So the world is your deepest thoughts and reflections, your subconscious, if you want to call it that. Try to remember that what you think is your subconscious is not actually your subconscious. That's the superconscious. What you're unaware of, you are unaware of it. See, we're seeing time backwards. We're seeing things in reverse. Comprehension is moving backwards because we're a reflection of it. So it's different. It seems kind of convoluted, but it's very evident and obvious. We are a reflection of what's actually happening. So we're seeing it backwards. And an example of that is where we think that what we are unaware of is a subconscious, but no, that is aware. We're the ones who are unaware of it. That makes us the subconscious. So you are the subconscious factor, but you can align with the superconscious factor. You can ingrain these two entities together and become more aware of it by fusing these shards of the self, these fractured pieces of the identity that do exist. When we encounter these entities in the void or in the ether through dimethyltryptamine and whatnot, we're thinking that a lot of it, maybe all of these, maybe not all of them, some of them might actually be alien entities, but for the most part it seems as though many of them are values presenting in our psyche. They're pieces of our psyche that are presenting to us as what we call archetypes. And we're seeing this a lot. A lot of people are waking up to this fact, so it very much seems to be the case, and that's the working theory that we're going on right now. So when you do decide to go internal and reevaluate your ideals, remember the world around you is reflecting you. Everything you encounter is a piece of your psyche. You are not, even this brain that you're inhabiting, that's a piece of your psyche. Who and what you think you are is actually your subconscious factor. The rest of the world, the united conglomerate entity, that's who and what you really are. So keep that in mind. You're reflecting this. Even you are a reflection of yourself. And something I want to make note of for these channels, if I correct you guys or I give you pointers, in the comments for your videos or whatnot, I'm going to stop correcting spelling and grammar. I'm sorry about that. I know it pisses people off. I can't help myself. It's kind of an obsessive compulsive thing with me. I'm a rhetoric fanatic. I'm sorry. Rhetoric. That's for our operator. But yeah, if I do that, if I slip up and do that, I apologize. Please don't let it piss you off. If it does start to piss you off, take it as a challenge to be kind and understanding. That's just me. That's just how I operate. But if I do give you guys corrections on things that you're presenting in your videos and comments, please don't get pissed off about that. I'm just trying to help us all be more successful. And in order to be successful here, we do need to start coordinating, especially with our terminology. Now, we're going to need to reach the atheist communities at some point. We're going to need to reach the scientific communities most imperatively. We have to reach the scientific and the medical communities. In order to do that, we need to speak the lingo. We're going to have to get the vernacular in play. We have to communicate with them in a way that they can immediately understand, which means we have to toss out the old terms like chakras being energy vortexes and all that shit, even energy itself. Electricity and electromagnetism, that's what we're dealing with. That's the energy in play. That is the chi, that is the jing, that is the prana. There's no difference. That's what it is. That's what they were talking about. When they talk about the chakras, what they thought of as being pools of energy, vortexes, that's actually clusters in the nervous system. The reason they referred to it as being energy pools is because that's what it feels like. When you're activating the Kundalini impulse and you're opening those chakras, it feels like vortexes of emotion, of energy, of spirit. Spirit is emotion. Soul is psyche. The chi, jing, prana, that is electricity. That's electromagnetism. It's gravity, essentially. What we're dealing with, the energy in play, is gravity, ultimately. And, matter itself is reflection. These things, there's no division between any of the things we've always thought of as being a difference between spirituality and science. There is no difference. That's what metaphysics is trying to reach. So the chakras are clusters in the nervous system. They're actual physical organs that we can identify and deal with. So we need to start referring to them as that. We need to get in the habit of tossing out those old terms like energy vortexes and shit. That's not what they are. They're not portals to some other dimension. There is no other dimension. There's 4 dimensions in play that makes up space-time or time-space. Now, when we refer to other dimensions, what we're actually talking about is perspectives. And there are varying perspectives on the way that we view things. When we think about other entities that exist that we're not seeing, it's not that they don't exist in some other dimension. They exist right here. It's just that our brain is trained to ignore them. We're not seeing them because we're looking right through them. If they're right in front of us, we're hypnotized. They don't exist in some other world. They exist in this world. We're just not seeing them. That's all. We're trying to condition ourselves, retrain our brains to become more aware of them, and that's what these psychedelics allow for us to do. These psychedelics are retraining our brain to actually become alert and aware of these things, to pay attention to them. It doesn't mean they exist in another world. See, that other world that we're seeing, it's the same as the difference between the subconscious and the superconscious, or the self and the soul. There is no actual separation. It's just we have to become more in tune to it. We have to become more alert, more aware. And the primary way that we do that is by realizing that it is in fact here. It is this world. There is no other world. I mean, it seems as though there is, and that's where we're going in these experiences, in DreamWorks, in projection, but it's the same place. We just need to wake up. It's part of the dream. We just need to wake up and become lucid. That's all. So please take that into consideration. Give me any feedback you guys have. I'm going to get every one of you this video. Provide our operative Jeremy that energy he needs. Work on turning that hurricane around, or calming it down at least. Winky, please. That apple belongs to me. I love you guys. Chance, he went on a limb and said I love you guys. I love you too, man. I love all of you guys very deeply, and I'm excited about this, and I want you guys all to get up to speed here. Some of you, I'm not trying to be like egotistical about this. You guys are a little bit behind. That's okay. We're gonna pick you up. We're gonna get you all on page, and we're gonna kick some serious ass here. You guys, some of you need a little bit of help in that area, in getting up to speed with the understanding of all this. At the same time, I need your help to get up to speed with getting these channels in play and getting things working in the social construct. So let's fucking work together and rock this shit, man. We're gonna kick some serious ass in the very near future. So let's protect our friend in Florida. Let's get this shit rolling with the collective contact project. The contact project has to hit on 3 fronts. 1, we are in fact trying to build a bridge between this world and that world, which again is not really separate, but we're becoming aware of that. That's how we build the bridge. 2, we need to connect. We need to share each other's videos, share each other's works, get these channels up and running, and coordinate, collaborate all together and build this community and make it work. 3, we do in fact need to start making connections with other communities. Eventually we need to work together and clean up that terminology so that we can get through to the people who aren't paying attention. We do need everybody aboard. We need to get everybody aboard. So eventually we're going to need to start working on branching out into other areas that don't seem to be directly involved with this, but they are. It's all connected. None of this is not connected. So I love you guys again. Thank you very much for watching. Kila Salai, our world, ode to our home world. This is our home. Terve Uni Siari, forward together, all as one. Namaste. I recognize myself. I recognize deity. I recognize soul in you and in all of us. Kila Salai, Terve Uni Siari. Namaste.